Hello, and welcome to Never Too Old to Jig. Today we will look at some stories of Irish dancers who have decided to start dancing or continue dancing into adulthood. We will also hear some personal stories from adult Irish dancers here on set on Never Too Old to Jig. First, I will introduce our guests, two adult Irish dancers who not only practice but perform live for large audiences. Kia, who has been dancing for 23 years, and Ken, who has been Irish dancing for 20 years. Thank you both for being here.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
To start off, could you tell us a bit about yourself and your background in Irish dance? We could start with you, Kia.
I started Irish dancing because our daughter was living with us at the time, and her good friend Bridget came over and announced that she was starting an Irish school, and she was going to be having an adult class, wanted Peggy to join. And then she asked me, and here I was, 60 years old. I said, okay, I'll try it, and here I am.
What about you, Ken?
And for myself, I was exposed to some friends whose daughters danced and got my daughter to dance, and then I saw some performances, saw they had an adult group, and the rest is history.
How was that starting in your 60s?
It was wonderful. We started at the Irish Center next to Wauwatosa East on Wauwatosa Avenue, and there were like 10 of us, and I remember we lined up, and there were somebody on the end, there was a pile of chairs, so I was on the end, and I ended up in the pile of chairs, and I said,
no.
Oh boy, I don't know if this is for me or not.
But you persevered.
I came back.
And did you find it to be like a good bonding experience with your daughter?
I did. We went to her first big performance at Irish Fest, and of course all the family, our family members are there, and an adult group came out. I had no idea they had an adult group, and several family members, looked down the row at me and pointed to the stage and pointed to me, and the rest was history. And so it's really been wonderful. I've had the opportunity to dance with her as a child at performances, and then as an adult at performances. And of course, we broke out a little bit of Irish at her wedding, and got to do a father-daughter. That was a wonderful bonding experience.
That's great. Did you have any other background in dance before you started Irish dancing?
As a kid, I was in ballet and tap dance and all the things that were going on when my age was. My mother signed me up for everything, even opera lessons, because I tended to be a little shy. But I never Irish danced before. There wasn't such a thing then.
Sure.
And for myself, I played a few sports. I'm German by Austrian by heritage, so I never danced in any German groups, Austrian groups prior to this, and it's been a wonderful experience.
Great. Thank you both for sharing. Now let's watch the testimonials of some other dancers as well as an instructor who have found their passion in Irish dance.
I first started Irish dancing because I went to Milwaukee Irish Fest, and I was 8 years old, and I saw Irish dancers, and I said, Mommy, I want to do that.
TikTok brought me to dance again as an adult. I started seeing professional dancers Irish dancing, and it just reminded me of everything that I loved about Irish dance when I was a kid.
I started Irish dancing when I was 5 because my parents took me to Milwaukee Irish Fest, and I wouldn't stop dancing.
I don't know if I read in the paper or something that they had an adult Irish dance class. And I joined up just like 2 hours every Saturday. It was great cardio, and I was like, this is a lot of fun. And I kept doing it when I moved here to Milwaukee.
I think people are drawn to Irish dance because I think the music's really lively. I think if you grew up in the 90s, you saw Riverdance, and Riverdance was so captivating.
I actually started Irish dancing in high school. I saw a PBS show of Riverdance, and I decided that I had to do it.
I think what's special about Irish dancing is you can do it as a soloist, but you can also do it as a group. And so it's really adaptable to what your interests are and what you feel comfortable with. So if you want to if you just want to do your own thing, and you can do that. But if you just want to be part of a team and do a Kaylee group dance, that is, you can do that.
What drew me to Irish dance was that I love the music. I really love the music. So it's the music, it's the movement, it's the activity that is mentally challenging, because you're always thinking about, wait, which step is next? Where do my feet have to be? I need to coordinate with other people. Got to keep my arms straight. I got to smile. It's mentally challenging, and also very stimulating. It's very aerobic. So I love all of that.
Yeah, I think you see Irish dance and you think it looks fun, and you want to do it.
The benefits of dancing as an adult, I'd say, are vast. You know, it's not only just the mental acuity of trying to remember steps, but there is a massive amount of cardio work that you do when you're dancing.
Always get free drinks at a bar on St. Patrick's Day. Just do a little bit of a jig or something, and everybody's just throwing whiskey at you. It's wonderful.
It's inspiring to see so many people find their passion. It seems that Irish dance has a lot to offer. Now let's hear more from our panel. What drew you to Irish dance, and how did you get started?
Well, I got started. My daughter had gotten a divorce and was living with us, and her good friend Bridget came over and announced that she was going to open a Irish dance school, and she was going to have adults. And she asked Peggy to be in the class, and then she asked me. And here I was, 60 years old, and I said, sure, I'll try it.
I think one of the things that drew me to Irish dance is the individuality of what each performer needs to know, and then the collectiveness of a group, whether it's a 4-hand or 8-hand, or at Irish Fest there'll be 30 of us out there, and kind of having to think about the choreography from that. Very much like a team sport, where you need to know plays, and people need to know where they ought to be and how to get to where they need to go in the right manner. So I think, and people are so thankful. The audience, it really does enjoy the performance. You know, many times they'll mention they'll be in awe, particularly as we all are older, that we do it. But they really, you get really good vibes from them, and it's a bit of a gift to give to.
It sounds like you did team sports in the past.
I did some little team sports in high school, grade school, high school, and so just the understanding the concept, as Kia talked about, and learning the steps and what comes in what kind of order, you kind of have to understand that. So there's a lot going through an Irish dancer's mind as they're performing, and then you also have to stop and enjoy it a little bit.
Sure. Did either of you practice any other forms of dance before starting Irish dance?
I didn't know, but I'm a tennis player, so I think that's where I get the stamina, where I can do it.
Do you feel any similarities with any of the quick footing?
Definitely. Sometimes I'm on the wrong foot.
Sure.
I've not done, and a fairly big bicyclist, and so that cardiovascular and the leg endurance, muscle strength certainly are helpful in this performance.
Now that you've gotten into Irish dancing, do you have any interest in trying out other forms of dance, or are you sticking with Irish?
I think for me, probably sticking with Irish. It takes enough time, and it's really a challenging kind of dance compared to some other ethnic dances.
Yeah, I'm not getting any younger, so I'm going to stick where I am.
Sure. What do you think sets Irish dance apart from other forms of dance? What makes it special?
For me, the intensity of it, and I guess it kind of waffles, and it has these peak moments, and then certainly the music enhances it. So you really get, we get jazzed up quite during a performance from the music and kind of from the audience. So I think that's a big draw for me.
It's not easy. It probably looks easy, but then it gets going pretty fast. You think you know it, and you're like, oh no. But it's good for your brain.
Sure. What do you find the most challenging about it?
Probably learning the hard shoe steps. For me, I have to practice and practice. And I write it down and write it down, and then I finally do it with my feet.
Sure.
I think learning the order of within a dance, there'll be a number of different changes and orders of it. So it's really the muscle memory. And you know, when we're backstage behind that curtain before we come on out, and as we're counting down the music, I oftentimes say to myself, like, feet don't fail me now. It's like we're just going to go out and you're going to rely on muscle memory because you've rehearsed it so many times. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes I think if you're thinking too much during it, that's where you might stumble a bit versus just lots of practicing and then just let your legs do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Thank you all for sharing. Now let's see what some other adult Irish dancers can say about their experiences dancing as an adult.
Back when I was graduating from high school, which was 1999, it was very normal that you just quit when you went to college. Like graduating from high school, you're done. I didn't want to, so I just kept going to classes, and it was really weird at first because I was in class still with high school kids and middle school kids, so that was interesting. And I kept dancing through college and then another 2 years after college. The billing office at the school I was at, they assumed that I had quit. But I didn't want to quit, so I just kept going to dance class twice a week, every week. And so after about 2 years, I got a call from the billing office, and they let me know that I had not been paying for classes for 2 years, and I owed them 2 years worth of. I was like, well, I don't have that kind of money. So they just forgave that debt, and I was like, I really miss Irish dancing. I want to go back to it.
Biggest differences of dancing when I was a kid versus now is definitely the engine that I have. You know, I tire a lot faster, but you know, I'm slowly getting better. I'd say when I was a kid, I definitely had a little bit more flexibility. My feet crossed a little bit better, but you know, slowly but surely, as you work on it, you practice it, you get there.
So starting as an adult, I felt like there was a lot that I was missing. I was missing a lot of the little things. I could get the steps, but getting the way your feet are supposed to be turned, the way your legs are supposed to be pointed, all of that, I never really got that. And we have like some pointers here and there, but I feel like when my children learn, when they go to their classes, they learn a lot more about posture and toe pointing and holding your leg turned out, all of that, and how you hold your hands. And I feel like they learn a lot more about that than we do, whereas we're like, you know, just get there, get your steps, get your feet right, get to your place, don't run into other people. Whereas like, and then in the end, you know, put the finishing touches on with the assumption that a lot of the adults, they know what those finishing touches are. I don't always know what the finishing touches are supposed to look like because I didn't grow up in this culture.
And I was really nervous about it. Like, I didn't know how I would fit in with other adults, and it's been really eye-opening.
Just in class, I've gained really wonderful friendships with the people in my class, and even the more advanced dancers. They're so helpful, they're guiding, they are always willing to help you out after the fact if you have questions or if you need any additional help after you're done with your set or you're struggling on something. They're always willing to step in and help you.
And I really missed dancing with a group, and all of the classes that were for Irish dance there wasn't really any classes that were for adults. So I thought, like, there's lots, especially in Milwaukee, there's so many kids that grow up dancing that there must be other people that feel this way, hopefully. And so I just put together a Facebook site, a Facebook page, and a website, and I just kept trying to get people. It took like a year, I think, before people started finding out about it and coming. But yeah, that's how I started with adult dancing, and it was really so I would have a place to dance.
I did not perform when I was a kid, so last year's Irish Fest was actually my first ever Irish dance performance. It was the first time I got the dress, everything, so that alone was just a wonderful experience because that was something that I really wanted when I was a kid, but because of the school that I was through, I wasn't able to do that. So now it's sort of like fulfilling that dream as an adult that I get to do that, and I get to put on the beautiful dress and I get to perform in front of all of those people at Irish Fest, and it's wonderful.
I look at the competition, the over 21 competition, and the competition is fierce. And like 100 dancers probably this year at the regional championships at the Oireachtas in the senior ladies over 21. And this year at the national championships, there were 135 adult dancers, like adults like me who, you know, we've got jobs and we haven't been dancing in 5 years, or it's unheard of. Like, I remember laughing at the idea of adult dancers when I was a kid, and now there are like 40, 50 adult dancers in the other room practicing right now.
Irish dance as an adult was such a new phenomenon. Let's talk to our dancers here about their experiences in the community. Do you feel like there's a strong sense of community with your dance groups?
Definitely. When we perform at Irish Fest, the audience is just boggling, boggles your mind. Last year I lost my husband, so I only did the Cayley, I didn't do Harchu. And afterwards people came up to me and said, "Oh, we thought you quit. You didn't quit, do you?" There are people that look for you when you're dancing, so it's really heartwarming.
Did you miss that community while you took your break?
I didn't. I kept dancing. I just didn't feel like I was doing well enough in Harchu, so I kind of stepped out, and I just did the Cayley. I missed it, of course, but it was one of those things. My husband was very sick, and he came first.
Sure.
I think there's a couple groups of community. One, the community of the dance school itself, from the young children, and then many of them who grow up then and become teachers of us. So some of the people who are currently teaching the adult group now had danced there as children in different capacities. So that's that community as a group. The group, when we get together once a week for practices, is really a tight community that people really enjoy each other and supporting each other. And then it's really the community that we're performing in front of is another sense of community. And as Kia said, many of them will catch us after a performance, particularly at Irish Fest, around the grounds and make comment about the show and engage them. And it's a really, for me, it's a real positive thing. It's a nice thing to give back to people so they can have some enjoyment in their lives. When we go to Irish or St. Patrick's Day coming on up, we'll be going to a number of retirement communities and nursing homes and elderly communities, and they really enjoy the performances. And you know, they're not going to be able to necessarily come out to see us at a bar or at Irish Fest. So us coming to them gives them a really sense of value and enjoying them. So it's really a pleasure to do.
Great. Beyond the physical aspect of dancing, of course, how do you feel that Irish dancing has contributed to your personal growth?
Well, because I played tennis for a number of years, I think the stamina has helped through tennis that way, but also the family of the group that we belong to is you get to be a family. I think I said before my husband passed away, and they were the first ones at the funeral, and it was very heartwarming.
I'm sorry to hear about your husband, by the way.
Thank you.
What about for you?
For myself, how it's kind of challenged me and prepared me, and being able to think sometimes while you're nervous, and in some of the tasks I do in my professional life, I need to be kind of thinking and being well prepared, and be able to think when I'm nervous, and so that is a challenge when you're performing, to kind of think about what's kind of coming up next, and so that mental endurance is something to kind of think about, and just to appreciate how to be prepared for different facets of life. And then we need to get prepared for performance. There's a lot of mental prep that goes into it, and to be able to engage people in a give and take way. And you oftentimes will hear people say that they get as much from the audience as they're giving back during a performance, and so that the mental capacity of prepping for that and enjoying that when it happens is something that is personally I benefited from.
Great. Do either of you have any advice that you'd like to give to adults who are considering taking up Irish dancing or any other form of dance?
My advice is they should just come and try it. If they like it, they'll get hooked.
From my end is do it. I think sometimes people worry about limitations. I often say, as we're trying to practice, it's not rocket science. It is enduring, and you do have to have willingness to learn and keep at it. But boy, it is such a wonderful physical and mental growth performance that I would not, people should not worry about whether their knees or their ankles or their hips hurt them. Many of us adults, the day after a practice and performance stuff are hurting, aching a little bit, but we get over that. And you really will be able to do it. Don't be afraid. You'll be able to do it.
As you get older, you need it for your brain.
Yes.
Helps your brain.
From some of the videos that we looked at today and from some of your personal experiences, it seems like it's a very tight-knit community, or it could be. Do you feel like, do you have any advice for people who might find that kind of hard to approach or scared that they won't quite fit in?
That's a very good question, and I think it can be. People may have that perception. I will tell you that when we have new people joining, and many times we'll have people who had danced as a child and then taking a break for 10, 15 years and then coming back after they've had a family and that and joining, they are really welcomed on in. I see those people as some experts that I can learn from. So I think the group that we are with and most of the other groups, I understand, also are very welcoming. And it's just that initial take that step, cross that doorway, and you'll be welcomed.
Great.
And our leader, Bridget, is very good at sensing that, and she kind of puts a damper on anything that's going to be negative.
Sure. Well, it's great that it sounds so inclusive and including. Thank you both for sharing your insights into the world of Irish dance. It's been a pleasure having you both on the show. That's all the time that we have today. If you are wondering about starting a new activity or joining a community as an adult, consider giving Irish dance a try. Thanks for watching Never Too Old to Jig, and have a great day.